welcome back to another explainer. Let's get right into it. Today, we're heading to northeast China to unpack a city that is literally defined by its majestic, almost unbelievable extremes. I'm talking about Jilin City. If you're someone who loves discovering places where fierce natural phenomena crash right into deep history and intensely comforting culture, oh man, you are in for a treat today. We're going to explore how a single city can be shaped by freezing ice, falling stars, and roaring fires. Let's go. Okay, let's dive into this. What actually happens when a river that stubbornly refuses to freeze meets the absolute most bitter winter air on Earth? Just imagine the sheer contrast of those two natural forces colliding. In the dead of winter, northeast China is relentlessly, punishingly cold. Yet right through the heart of Jilin City flows a river that totally defies the season. It just refuses to ice over. And that collision, bitter air meeting flowing liquid water, creates something utterly magical. Section 1. Nature's masterpiece. The Crystal Winter Wonderland. The catalyst for all this magic? It all comes down to extreme temperature contrast. Picture this. The ambient air temperature drops to a bone-chilling -20 to -30 degrees Celsius. But right next to it, the water of the Songhua River is sitting at a surprisingly balmy 4 degrees Celsius. The air around you is painfully cold, yet the river is actually warm by comparison. That massive temperature gap is the engine driving our first major extreme. And this brings us to the fascinating science and human engineering behind what locals call wùsōng or Rime ice. So how on earth does the water stay so warm? Well, step 1, just upstream sits the Fengman Hydropower Station, which was built way back in 1937. As the river water passes through the dam's massive turbines, it warms up just enough to avoid freezing. Step 2, when that flowing 4-degree water hits that -30-degree air, boom, it immediately creates this thick, rolling mist right across the river's surface. Finally, step 3. That mist drifts up into the freezing branches of the riverside trees, and the tiny water droplets instantly freeze on contact. It takes the absolute perfect combination of freezing temperatures, high humidity, and a gentle breeze to make this happen. And when it hits level 5, the highest grade of Rime ice, it is legitimately considered one of nature's rarest wonders. So when that warm river water meets the absolute coldest air, winter literally turns the trees into crystal. Nature isn't just freezing the landscape here, it's transforming it into this ethereal wonderland. For miles and miles along the riverbank, the weeping willows and pine trees are coated in this thick, sparkling silver ice. It creates a silent, totally dreamlike world. Photographers actually drag themselves out into the freezing pre-dawn air just to catch a glimpse of it before the morning sun melts it all away. Section 2. Echoes of History, Manchu Roots, and Cosmic Visitors. Let's move on and see how this builds, because Jilin isn't just shaped by geography. The very name of the city points straight back to its origins. Jilin comes from the Manchu phrase Giran Ula, which basically translates to along the river. And here's a fun piece of trivia for you. Jilin is actually the only city in all of China that shares the exact same name as its province. Plus, the city's name predates the province itself by hundreds of years. It really acts as this deep historical anchor for the Manchu people who originated right in this region. Now, if we map out Jilin's modern history, we see a timeline completely defined by heavy industry and, believe it or not, unimaginable cosmic events. In 1927, they built the first cross-river railway bridge, this massive, rusty industrial structure that you can actually still walk across today. Then, in 1937, the Fengman Hydropower Station was constructed, which, as we just learned, inadvertently gave birth to the city's famous Rime ice. But then, fast forward to March 8, 1976, and the city experienced an event of absolute astronomical proportions. They got hit by the largest meteorite shower ever recorded on Earth. So, the crucial point here is this staggering number, 1,700. That is the weight, in kilograms, of the Jilin No. 1 meteorite. It's the largest single piece recovered from that 1976 shower. Now, you might be thinking a 1,700-kilo space rock would be the size of a small house, right? Actually, because it's incredibly dense, thick rock, it's really only about the size of a small car. It crashed down with this deafening roar, and today it's sitting right there in the local meteorite museum, still totally covered in those fascinating burn patterns from its fiery descent through the atmosphere. Section 3. The Warmth of the North, Dongbei Culinary Comforts. Now, what's really interesting here is the absolute paradox of daily life in Jilin. Because the city is located north of China's central heating dividing line, basically every indoor space is relentlessly heated. We are talking a sweltering 28 degrees Celsius. That's about 82 degrees Fahrenheit, inside your apartment while it is minus 25 degrees outside. It gets so intensely hot indoors that locals routinely have to crack their windows wide open in the dead of winter just to survive the sweat fest of their own living rooms. And honestly, this bizarre indoor climate perfectly explains our next paradox. Why on earth would anybody eat massive bowls of icy, sweet, and tangy cold noodles, or lengmian, in the middle of a brutal winter? Well, because when you're trapped in an overly heated 28-degree room, a freezing bowl of silky noodles topped with pickled cabbage, sesame, and an ice-cold broth is actually the ultimate refreshment. It's a massive local debate, sure, but the thesis definitely holds up. Lengmian might actually be way better in the winter, specifically because of how hot the central heating is. But hey, if you do want to match the cold weather outside with hot food inside, you turn to taiguo dun, or iron pot stew. This is the ultimate cozy dongbei meal. Imagine a massive iron pot embedded right into your dining table with an actual wood fire roaring underneath it, literally warming your legs while you sit there. Inside the pot, rich meats like goose or ribs are just bubbling away with potatoes, tofu, and thick sweet potato noodles. But the real star? The fermented winter cabbage that caramelizes in that rich, oily, cumin-spiced broth. Oh, and as the stew boils, the waiter slaps fresh cornmeal dumplings right onto the dry, hot edges of the iron pot. They steam on the inside and form this perfectly crisp, bread-like potato chip crust on the outside. Honestly, it is spectacular. The local breakfasts are just as warming, by the way. As locals love to say after eating a bowl of shenfen, my mouth has just installed central heating. Shenfen is a Jilin specialty where fried starch jelly is absolutely drenched in an intensely garlicky, spicy, and heavily sesame-flavored soup. It provides this baseline buzz of heat that warms you from the absolute inside out. It's just an explosion of savory warmth, perfectly designed to fortify you before you step out into those frozen streets. Finally, you literally cannot talk about Jilin food without comparing these two absolute titans of comfort. First up, guabo roe. Did you know Jilin actually hosts a World Guabo Roe Championship? It's a gorgeous dish of tender pork shoulder, fried to a golden crisp, and served not in some thick, heavy syrup, but with a super light, tangy, sweet and sour dipping sauce. And on the flip side, we have the simple, unbeatable street food joy of a mahua. It's a deep-fried dough twist, covered in sesame and a shiny sugar glaze. The golden rule here, you absolutely have to eat it steaming hot directly out of the fryer so you can warm your hands in the freezing winter air. Both of these dishes perfectly represent the hearty, deeply satisfying soul of Dongbei cuisine. So we come right back to where we started, but hopefully with a much deeper understanding of this incredible place. From a river that literally creates crystal forests out of minus 30-degree air, to a massive cosmic rock resting quietly in a museum, to roaring iron pots of stew eaten in sweltering apartments. Jilin City is truly a place of profound contrasts. It leaves us with one final thought to ponder today. If you were to step off the train into the freezing, windy streets of Jilin right now, which of these magnificent extremes would you seek out first? Keep exploring, keep learning, and we'll catch you in the next explainer.